Hello and welcome to the 2021 Maple Grove State of the City. As you see, I am with Mayor Mark Stephenson. I'm Dave Kaiser from CCX Media. We did this last year out at the Community Center, Mark, but things a little different this year. So it's a virtual version. We're recording this at the CCX Media studios. We still want to take you through some of the accomplishments of the city and some of the things that have changed over there. Mayor, again, thanks for joining us. Let's begin talking about the pandemic, a little bit about the challenge that 2020 was. How has COVID-19, the pandemic, impacted Maple Grove, and what are the steps the city has taken to ensure the safety of residents and the viability of its businesses?
Well, thank you, Dave, for having me here, and thank you to CCX for doing this. This is great. 2020 has certainly presented us with a lot of challenges. Early on, Maple Grove established various safety criteria and protocols for its buildings. We continue to maintain services to our residents and to our businesses throughout the pandemic, and we are really working together with them to make sure we can do the best for everyone. During this time, we've provided financial assistance to stabilize our businesses. 60 businesses or more have received grants from the city, totaling about $600,000. We've allocated federal funding to CROSS to provide supplies, food, and rental assistance to our residents. We supplied federal funding to the Maple Grove Hospital to help offset COVID expenses that they had and make the hospital a safer place for our residents to visit when they had to. Our residents have also chipped in to help our community during this time. It's been great to see what they have done and how they've done it during these difficult times. And obviously, it's very demanding for people to wear cloth masks and to do all the other things that come with COVID. Our businesses are surviving the darkest of times, and we're looking forward to helping them come out of these dark times and get back to normal.
We will talk a little bit more about businesses later on in the State of the City. Let's talk a little bit about last year at the State of the City. We talked a lot about growth and trends and looking ahead. How has the pandemic impacted those forecasts, and in what way?
Well, business has changed in Maple Grove, but development hasn't. We are continuing to see great development within the city. The city has approved a number of very notable projects during the year, including a new medical technology center that's very exciting. We've added additional retail projects. We've added several apartment projects and many single-family neighborhoods. There's currently new plans for new housing developments in the northwest corner of the city. That development would add about 2,000 residents to our city. In 2020, the census was completed. Once that data is released, we expect it to show solid and continued growth in our community. And according to the American Community Survey figures, Maple Grove now has about 41,000 jobs in our city. Employment has grown over 20% over the last 10 years. Largest growth has been in manufacturing. We obviously continue to be a worldwide leader in medical technology and manufacturing. And that trend is going to continue. We're working with our businesses to make sure that they can expand, that new businesses can locate here. And by the time of 2040, we expect to see 50,000 jobs in our city or more. While the pandemic had a drastic impact on our business community, we've continued to see growth, and we've welcomed many new businesses. Many of the employers in our city continue to hire. With welcoming new businesses, we expect to see total employment levels continue to grow. And that's exciting for us because we have new projects, we have new developments that are coming to town, new employers coming to town, and that growth is just really fantastic for our city.
Very good, and we'll talk about some of those specific areas of growth in just a minute or two. Many schools in the city of Maple Grove, Mayor. How has this impacted the schools? What have you seen as far as schools and the city trying to work through this?
Sure, as any parent or teacher can attest, these have been difficult times for our students. I think it's very difficult to teach outside of school. I know the teachers have been challenged with that, and that's true in Maple Grove just as it is throughout the Osseo School District. Now the school district continues to grow, and students have adjusted to how to do the hybrid learning. I think one thing that's exciting for us is the students are getting back into the classroom, and that should help them out as well. We've worked closely with the district leaders and with the families to make sure that the reopening can be done in a safe and effective way for the students and the teachers. And online, I think, will continue to be a common theme over the years to come. Certainly the best place for the students is back in the classrooms with the teachers. This school district continues to grow, the city continues to grow, and so we're planning with them a new elementary school in the northwestern part of the city that that will help address some of the needs that they have and address our continued growth in the community.
Let's turn our page to recreation, talk a little bit about those creative people. They had to do a lot of changing and modifying this year. How did the city continue to provide some sort of recreational services?
Well, one of the things that is great about Maple Grove is that we have a lot of trails, a lot of park, and a lot of outdoor recreational activities. And you know, the residents really have used those facilities throughout the year. I mean, our trails, for those that have used them, you know how busy our trails were, how many people were out biking, how many people were out walking, and all those other things. You know, for programmed recreational events, however, it was a difficult year. We had to shift away from many of the recreational things that we normally plan. And so we've tried to adjust as well. And with the closure of a small box user in the shops of Arbor Lakes, we've actually agreed with the shops there to help provide some additional recreational services there. We've had Zumba classes. It's sort of a pop-up location, if you might.
Yeah.
You know, we've played pickleball there. And, you know, we've really tried to engage in activities there where social distancing can be maintained, and yet people can then have the recreational activities. We've also now put the indoor farmers market there instead of at the community center because it's a bigger space and it provides a better opportunity for that to really work in this time. You know, as the pandemic eases, we're going to get back to what I'll call our regular recreational activities, our planned activities, our group activities, so that our city can continue to enjoy those activities, whether it's at the community center, you know, the ice arena, other places in town where we will help them provide recreation activities. We're going to be out doing that.
I'm sure you have many youngsters and many families that are very interested in that happening. We're going to give the mayor a break for just a second here. He mentioned business quite a bit earlier. We went out and talked to Brett Angel out at the Grove to talk a little more specifically about what was happening in the world of business. Brett Angel is the Economic Development Manager for the City of Maple Grove. Here's what he had to say as he looked back and looks forward to 2021.
2020 was a very difficult year for so many, including the businesses of Maple Grove. The pandemic led to a shift in how businesses had to operate to ensure they are providing a safe environment for both customers and employees. One item became evident through the pandemic, and that is the resiliency of the businesses within the community. While we did unfortunately lose some businesses through the pandemic, we also welcomed so many great additions to the Maple Grove business community. From restaurants to aerospace manufacturers, the future continues to look bright for the Maple Grove economy. As the impacts of the pandemic began to be felt by the businesses in Maple Grove, the Maple Grove Economic Development Authority created the COVID-19 Emergency Loan Fund to assist businesses as they were allowed to reopen following an initial state-mandated shutdown. Shortly following that, the Economic Development Authority created a similar program called the COVID-19 Recovery Loan Fund to advance businesses' ability to financially recover from the pandemic. Between the two programs, a total of 61 businesses received funding totaling over $720,000. The awards were structured as forgivable loans, and each business has received full forgiveness. Businesses which received funds were from a variety of industries, from manufacturing to restaurants, and from all different areas of the city. Many businesses were also able to utilize federal, state, or county level programs as well, such as the Paycheck Protection Program and the Hennepin County Small Business Emergency Relief Grant. When looking at how the unemployment rate of the city was affected, the initial impact and recovery truly followed the V-shaped pattern. Prior to the pandemic, the unemployment rate for the city was at approximately 2.5%. Around April of 2020, during the first shutdown, the unemployment rate climbed to 8%. Since that time, the unemployment rate has dropped drastically and is currently at 3%. Many Maple Grove businesses, especially in the manufacturing sector, have continued hiring and are currently seeking more employees. From a commercial and industrial real estate perspective, Maple Grove continues to be a preferred location for many businesses and new developments. From a market standpoint, industrial and business park development continues to be a hot market in the Twin Cities region. This trend can be seen in Maple Grove with the anticipation of new development applications coming in for Park 81 and gravel mining areas. With current available land, location, amenities, and highway access of the city, Maple Grove is well positioned to sustain a strong real estate market. Retail and restaurant real estate has slowed with the pandemic. While these industries are anticipated to require additional time to recover, Maple Grove, serving as the Northwest Metro Regional Hub, will advance the recovery of the current businesses and aid in the attracting of new businesses. As we enter 2021, there is a lot to be optimistic about in the city of Maple Grove, with the implementation of new programs such as the sewer availability charge credit policy, and the City Council and city staff will continue to provide resources and programs to ensure existing businesses are able to succeed and to attract new businesses to the already vibrant community.
Thanks, Brett, for all the business information, and the Grove is looking good out there, as well as all the other business spots in the city. Mayor, let's talk a little bit about throughout the 2020 year, the city took the opportunity to upgrade various building technologies which are more sustainable and environmentally friendly. These upgrades will ultimately result in operational cost savings for the city. What can you tell me about some of the work that has been done? You don't have to look too far in the city to see it.
No. So I think that we've done a lot of significant projects this year. We updated the light in our city buildings, our athletic fields, the sports dome, and many city-owned street lights into the LED, very functional new lighting systems. We've sealed many of our buildings again to make sure that they're properly sealed, and we've tuned up our HVAC systems. One other thing that we've done that's very noticeable is that we add a 1 megawatt solar panel system. So a number of our buildings will now have solar panels on them on the roofs, and many of those buildings, like the fire stations, will have more electric output created by these new solar panels than they use. So then they'll be contributing that into the system, and the city will actually be earning money back from those solar energy that's created that electricity.
Mm-hmm. So one thing in State of the City, we always take this look back, but now let's turn the page and look ahead a little bit, Mayor. So as we look to 2021 and beyond, what are some of the key things that people can expect to see happening in Maple Grove?
Well, I think we're going to see the continued road construction for one.
Yes.
We're very excited about that. We're going to see the continued construction on I-94. There's a lot of traffic restrictions that have happened out there last summer, a lot of changing of lanes and various things. The good news is that the idea is that we're going to have that completed in the fall. And so the brand new roadway out there, the new Brockton Lane interchange, and all the updates, including the sound wall barriers, are all going to be completed. The sound wall first section just went up this week. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of those things are very exciting because with the addition of the new Brockton Lane interchange and with the new freeway, pavement and expanded lanes, hopefully the traffic throughout Maple Grove will be much more efficient. And that's something that's very important to our residents. It makes life easier. Mm-hmm. We're also going to be working on hopefully, the last segment of Highway 610.
Right.
That is a very important road in our city. We have to complete the interchange at I-94, 610, and County Road 30. That's really our top priority. And there's significant progress we've made on that in the last year. We've secured federal funds and state bonding money to contribute to a substantial portion of the cost of what's left to be completed at 610. And we're in frequent contact. I know I spent a lot of time in January talking to our federal officials, our federal office holders, and to our state office holders about how do we get the money just to complete that little section of 610. It's really not that much money in the overall scheme of things. And I think we're making good progress. And we certainly hope that with a combination of those federal funds and state funds, that we'll be able to get that done.
Very good.
We're also looking at upgrades to Main Street.
Right.
And so it's hard to believe, but Main Street is now 20 years old. Yeah. It needs a refresher. It needs a freshening up. We're seeing a change of the retail environment and what is going to be the stores on Main Street. And so we've got to look at that. We've got to do something to keep that sort of Main Street fresh, vibrant, and attractive to new businesses. As we've seen the apartment growth grow around and the other growth in the downtown area, I certainly think that that's going to help Main Street and its businesses. And I think that that's very important for us to keep that area vibrant and alive. And then, the city has also recently approved the second phase of the Arbor Lakes Business Park located on Elm Creek Boulevard and Zachary Lane. We see continued growth there. We know that there are new businesses that are going to be coming into that. That's why they're moving forward with the project. It's exciting for us to bring those new businesses to town as well. And then we have the Arbor Lakes Corporate Center on 85th Avenue and Zachary Lane. Now that finished construction here, it's a 205,000 square foot building. AbleCom is moving from New Hope to Maple Grove. It's bringing 230 new jobs with it to the city. It's a great employer to have in our city, a great business to have in our city, and we're excited to have them here. Another thing is the Minnesota Health Village. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's the area located up just north and west of Maple Grove Hospital. It's a new 100-acre project that has come forward with a combination of new housing, new senior housing, new apartment housing, and then most importantly for us, new additions to our medical community, and in particular, essentially a doubling of the size of the hospital. That's going to bring new care to our community, care that we desperately still need. And that's very, very exciting for us to see because that type of care being involved in the city is important to our residents. And then we've started looking at the new neighborhoods that are up by the Hindu Temple Village area. That's the area where we're going to see the most significant development over the next 10 years. We're working on that to make sure that those projects work really well for our city going forward.
Obviously, things we'll look forward to as we get into the rest of this year and beyond. So, Mayor, just in the final minute or so here, just some closing comments. It's been an interesting year, 2020, for all of us. Final thoughts from you and from the council about what the year's been like and looking forward.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me here today. I think it's important to get our message out to the community. Life is different in Maple Grove than it was a year ago. When we could gather together, have food and fellowship, and gather with our friends easily and without really much concern. I know the pandemic has really changed that aspect of our lives. And, we've changed. We learned how to work and learn and shop and how we can work with our businesses to go forward. The city council members and I, and along with our staff, will continue to help guide the city through these troubled times and make sure that we come out as quickly and as safely and securely as we possibly can. We'll maintain communications with our residents, with our businesses, and with the neighboring communities as well to make sure that we continue to grow Maple Grove in the best possible way to make it a safe, secure, and safe place to live. Maple Grove continues to grow. We see that every day. We know that there'll be challenges and there'll be changes ahead that we have to adjust to. That's what the pandemic obviously has reminded us of. But the city is strong, it's vibrant, its residents are resilient, and we'll continue to make this community a safe place to live, a secure place to live. And we're going to work with our businesses to make sure that they continue to grow in a strong and vibrant fashion, creating new jobs for our residents that make this a wonderful place to live.
Mayor, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you for coming and doing this virtual version of this annual event that I know the residents enjoy. And again, a lot of information passed along by the mayor. You can find out more information certainly at the city's website, maplegrovemn.gov. For Mayor Mark Stephenson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us.